Welcome to the Editor's Note Comics Podcast.
I think that this world, it needs men that are willing to make the hard call.
Central Maine's best comics podcast, by default.
Ain't no thing like me except me.
Here are your hosts, Zach and Jared.
Matt's coming. No. When do we start?
Welcome to St. Patrick's Day show.
Yes, welcome.
Do you want to make broad Irish stereotypes? That kind of mild racism that somehow is still out there?
Well, I'm too busy having my Guinness, wearing green, and pretending to be a leprechaun.
Okay, good. I don't know, I like a broad Irish stereotype.
What? Like?
I don't know, like the Lucky Charms guy.
Oh yeah, they're always after me Lucky Charms.
Oh, yeah, ta-tea, ta-tie, ta-tea.
Oh yeah, boyo.
Ooh, boy. All right, we're done with that.
I did that on purpose to ruin it and end it.
That's our,
because the Irish are. Actually, you know what movie I watched during these snow days? Speaking of Irish, I watched Gangs of New York again for the first time in a while.
Yeah, because it's free on Amazon Prime, right?
It was also just on regular cable. So. It was kind of the watered down version.
I watched it recently because it's free on Amazon
Prime.
Isn't
Daniel Day-Lewis awesome?
It's not a very good movie. I don't really like it.
What? Why don't you like it?
I don't know. It was long. Didn't really care.
There's jokes to be made there, and we're going to leave that alone.
Yeah, whatever. Before we get into everything, quickie review.
Hey, by the way, real quick, how did you survive this latest round of snow pasting?
It's fine. It's a pain. I'm getting sick of it. It's hard to run a business when no one's willing to leave their house.
Well, fair. You got opened on time for the regular comic book release day of Wednesday.
Yeah.
So that was a good thing.
Yeah, and I went on Tuesday, and the UPS guy, he goes across the street first, and if it's bad weather, he doesn't like to come across the street, and it takes an extra hour for him to swing back around to my side of the street. I ran out of the store and ran across the street. I'm like, I'm here for my box!
Did he beat you back or anything like that?
No, he's just like, oh, good.
No, this is easier this way.
Yeah. So, I'm here for my things! I'm gonna go.
Now, do you have to shovel the front of the store out, or does the city of Hollowell do that for you? Is there a sidewalk maintainer?
Both.
Are you kind enough to cut a hole in the big chunk of snow that the plow puts by so people can walk? They don't have to jump over the snowbank or hurdle it like an obstacle?
Someone else did that today. I'm not the only person in that building. It doesn't say on my lease you have to do all the snow.
Well, no, I'm not saying you have to do it, but
another guy did it today.
Do you have a common shovel that you share?
Yeah.
Do you so it's shared shovel visitations?
Essentially. Whoever feels the need to get it done first, I guess.
How do you feel about the possibility of another storm next week?
Pissed off.
Are you done with winter?
Yeah, it's rough when you run a business.
But you haven't gone snowboarding yet this winter.
No, but I'd rather not go out of business because of snow.
Oh.
If I had to weigh my options.
I guess that's a reasonable thing to want.
Quickie review, Jessica Jones Season 2 came out last week.
Did you binge watch it during these snow days?
The snow day helped me finish it up, definitely. Because I snuck in, the last 3 on the snow day.
Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle?
More in the middle. There's kind of 3 tiers of Netflix shows of excellence, like Daredevil Season 1, Jessica Jones Season 1. Kind of middle of the road stuff being more Luke Cage. And I'd put this kind of down at that level. It's not Iron Fist bad or anything, but it's, it wasn't anything crazy. Enjoyable, dark.
Was it a full 13 or was it an 8?
It was 13 again. You could feel the slump in the middle. One episode is literally just an entire flashback. They just could have called that one The Slump.
Oh, we've reached the apex of our season.
Yeah, this is that mid-season slump we have every time. And I'm not really spoiling anything here by saying this, but she commits multiple massive egregious felonies, the worst felonies that you can do throughout the season is
there's some bad felonies.
Yeah, this whole downward spiral. They're insane felonies that she commits. She's definitely gonna get her comeuppance and go to jail or something. No consequences at all. Everything's fine. It's huh.
So she kills people.
I didn't say what the felonies were, and I'm not going to.
She robs an ATM.
Sure. But yeah, it's just what's her comeuppance going to be? Nothing. Okay, cool. Get ready for next season.
Well, okay. Well, maybe it comes around in season 3.
Yeah,
comes back to haunt her.
It should, because I got to the I'm watching it. I'm there's gonna be something. She's gonna have to pay for this in some way. Nah, whatever. But no, it's fine. It's good enough, I guess.
Did it push anything forward? Was there anything with the hand?
No. It sorely lacked having what made Jessica Jones so great, or part of what made it so great was it had a really compelling villain. This one wasn't bad, but it wasn't no David Tennant.
No. So the hand, the whole hand storyline just doesn't get...
Not in this one.
Did they do anything with...
It's just all about addiction. That's the whole season is addiction.
Okay. So they don't do anything with, their little superhero friend group?
Nah. But that's that, so...
The Defenders?
No, there was no defending. There was just,
Offending. Haha, like our show.
just, drugs and alcohol and sex addiction, and that was kind of the crux of the season.
That has nothing to do with our show.
No.
Just alcohol.
Speaking of which, let's get into the news.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
It's time for the news.
This is a weird one. Stan Lee is definitely going to die pretty quickly, and it's looking weird. Like, if he makes another 2 months, I'll be surprised.
That's dark.
Yeah, but
That's heavy.
It's about to get darker.
Oh boy.
There's a reason I'm opening with this one so we can get lighter. There hasn't been a ton of news coverage about this. There's been some, but nowhere near what I would expect. We didn't mention it because it already happened relatively recently. A while back, we talked about like $300,000 disappeared from Stan's account. And even more recently than that, we didn't talk about it just because, it becomes kind of redundant. Like, Stanley had money stolen again. He had $1.4 million stolen a couple of weeks ago. So that looks strange. A few other oddities in Stan's life have happened. His longtime assistant of 14 years, Max, was fired. And when Max was being fired, somehow the Daily Mail knew what was going to happen, so they were definitely tipped off and photographed him being removed from the premises. There's a lot of mudslinging that was going around about his assistant. The guy does have a criminal past, and that was being, blasted pretty heavily. In fairness, a pretty bad criminal past. He beat his wife.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah, but
that's a very bad thing.
But everyone who seems to know him is he's very stern, but he's also very caring with Stan. It was almost like a father-son relationship, and he's done nothing but look out for Stan for the past.
Do you think Max is the guy behind the
No,
theft?
Probably not.
Do you think it's money that's being quote-unquote stolen to pay some people off and kind of some hush money?
No. There's only been one really good kind of report on this. I think it was from Daily Beast. I meant to write it down, but I accidentally wrote down Daily Mail twice, so let's say it was Daily Beast. That would make the most sense.
Okay, go ahead. Roll with it.
His personal nurse was also fired, and something that a source I don't like using because I usually think they're full of crap. Bleeding Cool was kind of the first one to break this, and they're not known for being super accurate. So I'm only going to go with the things that I know based on firsthand from people in comics, and also kind of what the larger article that came out was. No one can get in touch with Stan. His cell phones have been removed from him, and no one's talked to him. We talked about that video that was released on TMZ a couple of weeks ago. That is the last thing anyone has seen from Stan.
Do you think he's in a coma?
I think he's dying, and people around him are being vultures and are taking his money, because it's not like he has his own power of attorney and stuff with money at this point. He'll be 95. There's been some stuff that came out, some business partners who had taken over when his wife died, and some people think that's where the money disappeared from. But guys like Peter David, Kevin Smith, they've made public statements. It's not statements that I read on Bleeding Cool. It's they put stuff on Twitter and on blogs and stuff like that. There's some other quoted comics creators, but without seeing it directly, I'm not going to count them. So yeah, it looks like Stan's dying, has no contact with the outside world, and he's having all of his money stolen.
Wow.
Yeah, fun, right?
There's nowhere to go but up from here in the news, isn't there?
Yeah, so that's a fun one. Look into it if you want. It's super depressing. There's also conflicting reports on if the police have been called about this for elder abuse. I've read it both ways, so I don't know. I'm trying to just keep it to what I know for facts.
That's probably a good idea. We don't want to get into the world of conjecture here.
No. We can get into the world of conjecture, I guess. Deadpool 2 had some test screenings, and friends of friends said that people hated it.
Oh no.
That it just wasn't funny, no plot really kicked in, a lot of characters were wasted, and it has been confirmed they're going back for reshoots. But, whenever people go to a test screening, you have to sign an NDA.
Mm-hmm.
But the people who were putting it out there weren't the people who actually saw the movie, so it was oh, how was it? And they'd be oh, it sucked. And then they would put it out online. But the reason I would put some validity behind it is because Fox threatened to sue them if they didn't take it down immediately, which they did. But, it's the internet, so everyone has it.
Yeah, once it's out there, it's out there.
Yeah. So there's that. Conjecture as Deadpool 2 is not going well.
Do you think it might be they're trying to compare it to Deadpool 1?
Different director. I think part of it, too, is the movie's probably going to go into slightly different direction than the first one.
The movie also has been through a ton of trouble. We've documented extensively on the show. Multiple directors, creative differences between...
Yeah, but once they went into production, it seemed to kick off okay. It was all the pre-production stuff that seemed like it was kind of a mess, but yeah, who knows. Speaking of Deadpool, I have not been interested in Deadpool comics in a number of years now, mostly post-movie, it blew up too much and they were just pumping out too many Deadpool comics for me to care. But I'm interested again, because Deadpool is going to be written by Scotty Young. There are very few people who can effectively do fun, quirky, or irreverent humor. There's a lot of people who try. and a lot of people who fail, but Scotty Young is one of those guys who can do it. I'm like, that is a perfect match. So I'm excited to actually get into Deadpool again. Chris Rael, he was the editor-in-chief at IDW, has been so for a long time. He's had a lot of high-ranking positions over there. He has announced that he is leaving the company. And here's what's crazy about this. Now, stay with me. It's not for any kind of sexual harassment reason.
Yay!
No, I was shocked. No, he's like, I'm kind of burned out. I've been doing this for like 14 years, and I kind of need a break from it, like insane deadlines and all this, which is reasonable.
Yes.
But I just want to throw that addendum on there. He wasn't fired for something terrible.
What does that say right now about like the state of like famous-ish people that when they get fired or released from a job, they have to like immediately...
Well, he quit is the thing. He's
or
like,
quit.
Yeah, he's like...
Where they leave someplace, they have to like have an immediate addendum like, no, I didn't do anything
I also
wrong.
didn't diddle anyone. It's that diddle clause in the contract.
Oh, the diddle clause. That'll get you every time.
Ready Player One had its first screening, and unlike Deadpool, had overall very positive reactions.
That's what I did see. I saw a tweet about it.
Which is kind of nice to see, because going into this, like, it seems like everything they release, like, the internet will just take it and just take a big old crap on it. Just been screaming about how terrible
Well,
it
that's
is.
what the internet is.
Yeah.
The internet
But
is a big old place to take big old craps on things.
It was just, I was kind of surprised. I'm like, it's Spielberg and all that. And people were like, just pulling on nostalgia string and all this. And everyone was freaking out, but the initial reactions, there was a couple in there that were negative, as would be with anything. But overall, very positive initial reactions. But as we've said on the show before, don't always trust initial reactions. Sometimes people can get swept up in the moment. And also, everyone wants to have a pull quote.
Yeah, everyone wants to be, hot take.
You want to get your name on that poster.
Hot take.
Speaking of other movies, good segue.
Yeah, wow. There's really narrowed it down there.
My favorite director, Michael Bay, is going to be directing the adaptation of the comic series Robopocalypse. Look, it's just Terminator with bigger robots, and I hate this idea.
You hate it because it's Michael Bay.
I hate it because Michael Bay doing big robots again.
And blowing stuff up. Will Mark Wahlberg be in it?
I gave those Transformers movies too many chances, man.
You did. I learned. I stayed away. I have not been back.
There's no chance in hell I'll ever watch this.
I'm sure, as we've discussed many times, everybody has a price.
Yeah, like the dangers of technology in the future with robots, but they're big robots.
Like Pacific Rim big?
It's not about the dangers of technology.
Oh.
I think that's about the pleasures of technology. Punch a monster.
Yeah, that's about the dangers of monsters.
Yeah.
Do you have written down in there that Black Panther broke $1 billion?
Yeah, I can do the Black Panther news. Yeah, Black Panther is number 1 for the 4th week in a row, beating out Wrinkle in Time.
Wow.
No one saw that coming. I think.
No.
I thought that movie was... I think that Wrinkle in Time was number 2 this weekend. But yeah, for the 4th week in a row, Black Panther beat out Wrinkle in Time. I was like, no kidding. And yeah, they've cracked $1 billion. This is only the second Marvel solo movie to do that. Iron Man 3 was the first. But this movie did it faster. This movie's going to make big money.
Yes.
It's getting to the point where I'm going, like, is Black Panther going to beat Infinity War for ticket sales?
Maybe. Probably not.
I don't know.
Let's just say that it's going to be a healthy quarter for Disney Marvel.
Yeah.
A healthy quarter.
Yeah, I was like, could you beat Avengers Infinity War?
Think about what's going to come out for them in this quarter. They've had Black Panther, they're going to have Infinity War, and they're going to have the Solo movie.
I know, Disney's going to like, thank God that loss we're going to take on Solo is covered.
Yes, probably. I don't know if it'll probably push.
We'll see what it does.
Did you see the Chinese reviews of Black Panther?
No, I guess not.
I was scrolling through the Twitter during the storm. Let me see if I can find them.
Well, I can just cut this out.
They were not favorable.
I'm just going to take a drink. Happy St. Patrick's Day to ya.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to stop now. By the way, I'm a quarter Irish. I can do this. I think I'm a quarter Irish. I don't know. I can do this a quarter of the time.
Let's see. Oh, yes. Here. And I read this. This is going to be direct quote. I don't know if I want to read this. It's pretty rough. I'll just read a part of it. The film's colors are a bit dark. It's nearly a torture for the eyes to watch the film's 3D version in the theater. This also, some Chinese reviewers just saying it was really, for lack of a better term, dark.
That's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's deeply uncomfortable.
Quote, the blackness has really made me drowsy.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's uncomfortable to read, but still has 97% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Good movie.
It's a great movie.
What else we got? Speaking about things the internet yelled at this week, which kind of surprised me. I was really surprised at the reaction to this, because when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's good news. But then I'll explain the other side. Jon Favreau, director of Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Zathura, Chef,
Jungle Book.
Jungle Book,
Elf.
Cowboys and Aliens.
Elf.
Also Elf.
And soon to be the live-action Lion King,
Yeah.
which I'm pumped for, by the way.
Has been tapped to write and executive produce the live-action Star Wars TV series. It's going to be going to the Disney streaming service. And my reaction was like, oh, okay. I mean, I was a little hesitant because Jon Favreau is a real hit-and-miss guy for me.
I like his stuff by and large.
Yeah, but sometimes you get a Cowboys and Aliens or an Iron Man 2. And then sometimes you get... I think Chef is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. Just because that was... Did you ever see Chef?
No, is it about the food truck?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, it's about a food truck.
Isn't it with Dane Cook? No.
No.
That was Served.
No, the whole movie, Chef, is... He's a chef, and he does this one thing, and he gets, like, these insanely rave reviews. And then he does another thing that's kind of like it, but not quite. And he just gets blasted by the reviews, and he just screams at a reviewer. He's like, I tried my best, you don't know?
Oh, you've talked
Why
about
don't
this.
you?
Yes, yes.
Why don't you like what I did? I did it before. You liked it fine. And he goes, you know what? I'm all done with this big chef industry. I'm going into the small food industry, making a food truck. It's definitely not about the indie film market and Iron Man.
Yes. Where people panned Iron Man 2 after...
Yeah. Like, jeez, man. Like, it's a good movie, but it's real thin in there for, like, what it's about.
Oh, okay.
But I was like, okay, cool. And then the internet's reaction was like, another straight white man doing Star Wars. Like, come on, guys.
Internet. Come on, Internet.
It also said, like, in the press release that, like, it was going to give him the opportunity to... Because, again, executive producer and writer, it doesn't make him a showrunner. He's just a producer on it. It's just a big-name one.
Yeah.
So, like, the difference between showrunner and executive producer, that's a big old difference. They said he was going to be able to hire, what'd they say, like, rich and diverse cast and crew. So they said, hey, we're going to get other people in here, but the initial reaction was like, straight white man! You could say usually talented guy.
Yeah, decent movie director who stars in movies as well.
Has gotten just fatter in everything he ever does.
Wow.
Every
He's
time you
lost some
see him.
weight.
Has he?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. He was getting bad for a while because he was on that chef. He's like, I have a food truck.
Yeah, well, I've put some weight back on after basketball season. I need to work on getting it off.
Yeah, it's the winter.
It
just,
is.
Just when it was time, remember a few weeks ago, it's like,
that,
you can go out for runs again.
Yeah, especially where March is about to start, and now here we are having to bulk up after 2 snowstorms that have brought almost 4 feet of snow.
Yeah, what else we got? All kinds of stuff. Let's do set photos. Shazam set photos leaked. There was one that kind of showed him at Christmas from behind. It wasn't very good. But
Hard to see.
Then Zachary Levi, star of Shazam, tweeted out a photo of him with a mustache, which I think someone had put on him. But overall, the suit looks very Shazam-y. It's light and colorful.
I will say that the mustache looks better rendered than anything they did in Justice League.
Yeah. Well, he's like, at Henry Cavill, I feel you, boo.
Aww.
But then he quoted someone with the photo credit, so I don't know. But it looks good either way. And then we saw X-Men set photos. Some people were angry that they weren't the 90s costumes teased at the end of X-Men Apocalypse, but I like it. They're coming from general fan favorite story New X-Men, the Frank Quitely designs that he did with Grant Morrison. You know that run. That famed run.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Days of Future Past.
I just said New X-Men,
but
with Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely.
But that was the Days of the Future.
Yeah.
In the past.
On the other hand, the end of that series is so weird now. It plays straight if you just read it with no knowledge of the future, but I don't understand the retcons of it. If someone could tell me what Zorn is, that'd be awesome, because I don't understand.
It's like a reverse letter to the editor.
There's a couple of things that, like, I just cannot wrap my head around. Don't look up Zorn. It's confusing. Whatever Wikipedia says, well, it's not going to work. Zorn is just...
Is it Zorn with a Z?
With an X.
Good thing I asked. XORN?
Yeah, don't understand Zorn. It's fine.
He's levitating. He's got a weird helmet.
Or is it a he even? It's all over the place. I think at this point it's more of a title. I don't even know. Our favorite man who likes to be drunk on wine, Vin Diesel, was in the news this week.
He has the sun in his head?
Not Vin Diesel.
Healing powers, that's good. Well, if you had the sun in your head, yes, I guess you would. Self-sustenance can cause his sun to turn into a black hole. Okay, I'm lost.
Also, sometimes he's Magneto, and sometimes he's an evil Jean Grey from the future, but sometimes I don't know when they switch in and out of it. It's all over the place.
Okay, good to know.
Vin Diesel is going to star as Bloodshot in the upcoming Valiant Universe Bloodshot movie. I know one thing about Bloodshot. He's supposed to be like the most ripped man in the world, and they got Vin Diesel.
Are his eyes going to be bloodshot, perhaps?
No, he just has like a big circle in his chest.
Oh, okay. Like a
big red circle.
Okay. Is it like the color of blood?
It's red.
Like a blood red?
Yeah, sure. Fine.
Okay.
Either way, Vin Diesel, I'm like, oh boy. Do you really want him to lead a franchise?
He is Groot.
He's fine in supporting stuff.
Come on, he leads the Fast and the Furious franchise. That thing's still pumping out movies.
The Rock leads it.
Well, okay.
Jason Statham, Paul Walker.
They tag team. Well, Paul Walker, R.I.P. Let's see. With Triple X, the Triple X movies.
Yeah, have you seen them?
I saw one
Okay, good. I didn't.
where he defies the laws of physics.
He's fine in supporting stuff. I mean, Saving Private Ryan,
Oh, he's really good in that.
the Guardians movies, all that. But do you really want to have him mumble his way and supposed to be like the most fit man in the world?
As long as he has his box of wine, we're ready to roll, son.
Nah. Speaking of other weird announcement news of things I don't think are going to work, Rob Liefeld, we don't talk about him a ton on this show. He was incredibly popular in the early 90s, still continues to work this day. Some people love him. Some people think that he has weird issues with drawing correct anatomy, has too many pouches, and can't draw feet.
Oh, is he the guy that you like? Everyone's wearing like cargo jeans, cargo shorts, cargo this.
You have like a bandolier of pouches. Your pants have pouches.
Your pouches have pouches.
Yeah, basically. You have
Oh,
a pouch
okay.
everywhere you can have a pouch.
Well, that's important. You got to be able to carry shit.
His Extreme Universe, which was renamed after Awesome Comics. I guess Awesome wasn't cool anymore, so they changed it to Extreme. His Extreme...
That does sound better.
Yeah.
Extreme!
His Extreme Universe has been sold to Netflix. Why? I've never read any of these comics. I have no interest in reading them.
Let's hear for Netflix buying up intellectual properties.
And I'm not going to watch this, but I would like to read you just some names of characters.
Oh, please.
Do you remember,
Regale
like,
me.
the early 2000s when like people would like try and shy away from like comic book costumes, like saying some of the silly names? The early 2000s should come back on this one.
Okay.
Get ready
I'm
for
ready.
all of these names with the letter B for some reason. Bad Rock,
Ooh, yeah.
Bloodstrike,
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that one.
Bloodpool,
No.
Youngblood. Yeah, that's what you have to look forward to with Rob Liefeld's Extreme Universe.
What was the second one again?
Bloodstrike,
See, that's a good name. There was another one. What was another? Read them again.
Bad Rock. There's more names. I just picked the dumbest
Okay,
ones.
Bad Rock. Well, then why didn't you bring the good ones?
They were mediocre to very bad.
Okay, so Bloodstrike. I like that one. Bad-
Bloodpool, Youngblood, Bad Rock.
See, Bad Rock just sounds like, the part of Bedrock that nobody wants to go. Bloodpool is just, it's too much of like Deadpool in my mind. Bloodpool, that's really kind of just that's a weak name.
He's Deadpool's co-creator. Bloodstrike,
though, is pretty good. Bloodstrike actually sounds like a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie from the 80s.
It all sounds
Well, he was in
dumb.
Bloodsport, so. I like those names, though, like those action names. Or some of like the early wrestling names, like some of the 90s wrestling names, like Terra Rising, Sexton Hardcastle.
I could be like Undertaker.
Well, Terra Rising was Triple H.
Ah, okay, I remember that one.
And Sexton Hardcastle was Edge.
Don't remember that one.
He was in the Brood. He was with Gangrel. They came out of the ground. There was fire. They were vampires.
Yeah, no idea.
Did you not watch the Attitude Era of WWE? Monday Night Raw, when it was really good?
Never. It's never my thing.
I would get in trouble. I would get in trouble for watching it. I was like, you're not going to watch that toilet trash television? That's the first thing I did when I went to college, and I had cable TV. Damn right, I was watching Monday Night Raw every Monday.
You rebel.
I
Some
know.
good news. Let's do some good news. I feel like this has been a mostly downer news week.
Yeah, can you pick me up a little bit, please?
And I'm not done with them. There's been some good stuff. I like the Shazam costume. I like the X-Men costumes. Black Panther still killing
Do you
it.
have any Brian Michael Bendis moves?
No, there was news, but I chose not to gab about Bendis this week.
Okay.
There's a lot of news.
Did you hear me say moose, though? Like a cow. I screwed that up.
It's okay.
At least I got his name right this week.
BMB. Actually, you know what I will do? Bendis' story.
Okay, let's go.
Let's gab about Bendis.
Let's get Bendis.
Bend it like Bendis.
We're on a Bendis bender.
So Bendis' Superman title that he's doing, Man of Steel, is going to be a 6-issue mini, but announced after that he's going to be taking over both ongoing Superman titles. So he'll be writing Action Comics and also Superman, no extra name on that book. He's doubling down on Superman, which feels weird. Like, why? Just give him one Superman book. So he's going to have 2 different stories simultaneously. Just give him one.
Speaking of Superman, Nicolas Cage has been tapped to be the voice of Superman in the Teen Titans cartoon.
Woo.
Come on.
He loves Superman. He was going to be a Superman once. There's a great documentary out there, like The Death of Superman Lives. Highly recommended.
Really?
Yeah, it's great.
So what happened to that movie? I was like, there were set photos.
Look, go watch the documentary. That documentary can tell it far better than I can. It's actually really entertaining.
Was he going to have the long hair that he had in the test photos?
Yeah, and they show more of the test photos. They show some test footage of because aside from doing like the just still shots, they also filmed to see how it picks up. So you actually get to see a lot of behind the scenes stuff that never came out before. It's really cool. I highly recommend it.
Was it going to be a good movie?
No.
Did it save
Absolutely not.
Did it save Nick Cage's career from not having it happen?
He kind of does whatever he wants.
He is the man. I do like Nick Cage. Whoa.
He does things.
That's Keanu Reeves more than anything else.
Yeah, but I was just going to move on. Good news. For Wonder Woman 2, Kristen Wiig has been officially cast to play Cheetah, kind of the biggie Wonder Woman villain.
Oh, okay.
If I had to, gun to my head, say, who's the biggest Wonder Woman villain?
Men.
It's Cheetah.
Oh. Men, a close second.
But I'm really curious how they're going to do it. I mean, Kristen Wiig wouldn't be my first choice, but she's usually good in what she does, so I really can't complain. And comedic actors can usually pull
Joss Whedon.
No.
How he shot her in that movie.
Yeah. And his script.
Anyway.
I don't know how they're going to do it. They're going to, because Cheetah's had a few different origins. Look, it's like a half lady, half cheetah. Yeah.
No.
But are they going to, just have her wear, cheetah, is she going to wear a lot of, cheetah print? Are they going to make her, half CG? What are we doing here? Is she going to be able to go in and out of it? I don't know. But I think it'll be interesting to see. But I like Kristen Wiig, so I think that's good news. And Samuel L. Jackson put out an interesting Instagram photo this week. He's just taking a quick nap. And it was him getting a head cast for Captain Marvel.
Ooh.
Which makes me go with one of two things. One, they're getting his face so they can scan it to de-age him in the movie because it's supposed to be set in the 90s. Or number two, he's a Skrull!
It's been a while since we've accused somebody of that.
Or at least a Skrull will be him at some point. I think those are the two options.
And they're probably de-aging him.
Or he's a Skrull.
I'm going to go de-aged.
I kick more into the Skrull category, but that's okay.
Well,
I gave you two options. I agreed with one more than the other.
yes.
Two more. Why not? We'll do two more.
Okay, that's fine.
DC announced this week a new line of comics going to be called Black Label. And this is going to be, and these are words that they used in the press release, edgy.
Well, usually
Yeah.
Black Label would indicate that it's different.
And extreme, yeah. These stories are going to be set out of continuity, and they're getting a bunch of big-name talent. They've only announced a few books so far. I didn't write them all down in all the descriptions. It's worth looking up. Some of the bigger ones, and all they're doing so far are Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, so doing the Trinity in a few different versions. First up, we knew this from a while ago, but it will now be under the Black Label. Label? It's too many labels. Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. will be doing Superman Year One, a book I have no faith in. Miller has kind of gone crazy in later years. His last Dark Knight run wasn't bad, but I think he was mostly pulled in a bit by a co-writer. And he's also stated many times that he thinks Superman is super boring.
No,
So I'm
he's not.
Oh boy, I can't wait to read your take on Superman. Yay.
Maybe he'll spice him up. Maybe he's like, I'm going to do what I want with Superman.
Maybe he'll just go on a cocaine bender and do whatever he feels like. We'll see.
You got to do what you got to do, I guess.
Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo are re-teaming yet again to do Batman. This is going to be Snyder's final Batman story. It's called Last Night or something, I forget. But it's going to be essentially Scott Snyder's, it's not what it is, but maybe just think of Dark Knight Returns, in the future when Batman has gotten old and things are sad. And, ooh, Dark Knight Returns. This one, I like the two of them together. Snyder's been on Batman for a number of years. Capullo's great with him. Originally, it was going to be main artist Sean Gordon Murphy, but it was kind of decided that Snyder and Capullo should go out together, which is fine. But that description I got a big kick out of because it opens with old Batman is sad, and he has the head of the Joker in a jar that's alive for some reason. I'm like, all right, I'm in.
Okay, this is different.
Kelly Sue DeConnick, she's been coming up in the last couple of years. People are really attached to her work. She's going to be doing Wonder Woman, and there's a few others in there, but those were kind of the biggies. So, I'm fine with out of continuity stories if you can, kind of remove the shackles of having to deal with, you can't, move the pieces too far out because, kind of get everything back to status quo or close to it at the end of the day. So I'm fine with that. Do it. And the last story. Oh, I saved the second to worst for last.
Oh, boy.
Probably the Stan one was the worst one.
Okay.
February sales are out.
Oh, why do we got to go there?
Because it greatly affects me.
Okay.
Only one book in February cracked 100,000 copies. One. And overall, the market is down 8% from this month last year.
That's not helping.
Yeah.
You don't seem pleased, sir.
I guess it's better than, what did I say last month? 15% compared? So, But still, I haven't seen an uptick in numbers in a good long while. And just looking at this month after month, we're doing worse than before. We're doing worse than before. I'm like, hey guys, come out and buy some comics. There's a lot of good stuff. There actually is quite a bit of good stuff. It's one of those, and there's been times in the industry where there was nothing good, or very little good. There's a ton of good stuff happening. I don't know. I don't have the answer. Please buy comics, because boy, the industry needs it.
Yes.
Preferably from me.
You're part of the industry now. You're a slave to the grind.
But, yeah, so that's the news. There are some ups and downs in there.
Yes, there are.
I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. But from there, oh yeah, sports reports. I forgot. I almost skipped you. Jared's sports reports.
He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. Bare-chested. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. Oh, and they tackle him at the 40-yard line.
It's time for another Jared Sports Report.
Tiger Woods is back, baby.
Yeah, he had a great round at the great tournament. His Sunday round was he had a 70, had a chance. He was in contention for winning at the Valspar. He's actually going to be playing on the Arnold Palmer Invitational.
Yeah, it only took him 10 years to revive his career.
Less than 10 years. It's been like 5 since he really has been competitive, 5 or 6. But you got to talk about this as being one of the better comebacks in sports. Think about what he's been through, and you take some of those.
What he's been through, a bunch of women.
Well, besides that, but the medical issues, the personal issues, and yet he still has found a way to come back and be competitive. And at his age, too. I think it's kind of interesting. There's kind of a resurgence for...
Golf is the only sport you can do that.
Well, Tom Brady's going to be 41 this year, and he's still playing at a high level. He was the NFL MVP last year, which the last episode of Tom vs. Time came out, and there were still photos that were grabbed of his thumb, the injury to his thumb. Have you seen these?
I remember there being news about it.
Oh, dude.
Right before the Super Bowl, but I haven't.
Well, it was before the AFC Championship game. He had injured his thumb in practice.
I remember there's all these like reports, like he was just walking around, but like it was like hand tucked like under his arm.
Hand tucked. He was wearing the gloves for his indoor press conference, and he had the tape. It was, will he play, will he not play? Because it was on his throwing hand. But it's amazing. Was it 12 stitches, or was it more stitches than that? Let's see. Let me pull up a picture of his thumb for you. The fact that he was able to play a football game 3 days after that.
That's nasty.
Yeah, it's deep.
Yeah, that'll ruin you, the mobility of that thumb.
Yeah, it's kind of... Anyway, so there's that. And speaking of the Patriots, the NFL free agency period has not really been kind to them. They've lost Nate Ebner. No, Nate Ebner re-signed. Sorry. They've lost Rowe, cornerback Rowe. He's gone. Obviously Malcolm Butler, we all knew he was going to be gone after not playing in the Super Bowl. He signed with Tennessee for a real lucrative deal. Danny Amendola has gone to Miami, and probably, in my opinion, as big as those other 3 guys were, and especially the way Danny Amendola played in the playoffs. Nate Solder signed in New York with the Giants, and he's the highest paid offensive tackle now in the league. So I think that's the biggest loss. Now you kind of wait to see what they do about Gronkowski. Jordy Nelson has left the Packers, so he's on the table. A lot of people got upset that the Patriots didn't go after Richard Sherman when he left Seattle. To you, I say poo-poo. He's had 2 devastating Achilles injuries, and yeah, is he still a top-level cornerback? Yeah, probably is, but they're upset that the Patriots didn't show a ton of interest in him, and he ended up signing with San Francisco right out of the gate, and that makes perfect sense for him. For what he wants to do, his life after football is closer than than people probably think or realize.
Say you people? Then you people think.
Yeah,
he's out!
You pink hat Patriots fans. It really upset me and grind my gears. It just is like...
What the hell are pink hats?
So they're like fans that are like... They're not bandwagon fans. They're a different level of bandwagon fans.
When things are good, you're like, I've loved him forever.
Yeah, and things are bad. They blame everybody, but what's going on? But, it's like, people saying, oh, you can go to the 49ers and be 6-12 next year. And, you could have come here and competed, but obviously you only care about the money. It's like Richard Sherman has owed you nothing. And in fact, I can point out that probably a ton of Patriots fans, myself included at one point, were like, Richard Sherman is a mouthpiece and I would never want to see him in a Patriots jersey. Oh, but when he becomes available, just like if LeBron James were available, I'm going to get on the soapbox. If LeBron James were available and he came to the Celtics, all the Celtics fans would be like, oh my God, we have LeBron James. But right now, oh, LeBron sucks. He's LaFlop, LeBum. Pink Hat fans piss me off.
The Celtics are number 2 right now.
Yeah, they're playing pretty well, despite the fact that Kyrie Irving has kind of been injured here recently. He's not playing tonight against Washington. A couple other guys not in as well. Trying to think of other interesting sports reports. It was a sweep for the North in basketball all-star games last weekend. The main high school basketball all-star games. All 4 games, boys at AA, A, and B, and the boys CD team, as well as the girls teams from the North, swept all those games. And let's see, what else interesting? Oh, the UMaine women's basketball team would be playing Texas Tech.
Oh, I saw that.
In the NCAA women's tournament.
Good thing people care about women's basketball.
They're the 15 seed going to play the 2 seed in Texas. It's kind of I don't think that the selection committee got it 100% right. Maine was an automatic bid, but Coach Amy Vachon's done a great job up at Maine getting that program to the next level. A lot of people credit Richard Barron before he got sick and left, but now he's the men's coach. But I think Coach Vachon has done a good job of fitting all the pieces together and making it work, and got UMaine women's basketball back on top, baby.
Woo!
I think I'm done. Oh, Kevin Harvick has won 3 races in a row in NASCAR.
Okay.
3 out of the 4 races so far this year. So there's that. Trying to think of anything else. My life's been an empty void without curling.
That'll be your sports reports. And from there, I guess we'll move on. Why do you get all the segments named after you? Because I think it's funny.
Because this show's about me, baby.
Moving on to Jared's Reading Corner. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
It's Jared's Reading Corner.
This week, what we're doing, let's try to think, what's the most alcoholic story we could do for the most alcoholic holiday out there?
The Life of Zach Bowen.
It's not a story.
You're writing it as we speak.
It's a made-for-TV movie at best. A Hallmark cautionary tale.
Who would you want to be you? If you could pick anyone to be you in your Hallmark movie.
I mean, I look like if Dominic Monaghan from Lord of the Rings and Jack Black had a love child. That's what I look like. I don't know, mash them together.
For people who've never seen you, they're probably turned off from ever wanting to set foot in the store now. Or maybe they'll start coming in. It's like, oh, look at this freak.
I have Dominic Monaghan and I share the most non-threatening button nose imaginable.
It is kind of cute. Boop. Who would you have play me?
Who doesn't have a chin?
I have a chin now.
Because you're faking it. I don't know. Who would you have play you?
Matt Damon.
Yeah, you're right. That's your celebrity look-alike.
No, I don't know who I'd have play me. I don't really know who my celebrity look-alike would be. Maybe the kid who played McLovin, if he could grow a beard.
I forget his name.
I don't know. I can't think of who I'd want to have play me in, like, of the story of my life. Couldn't be Bruce Campbell. He has a chin. A stately chin.
Also, he's going to play you in the story of your life, and he's 30 years older than you.
It's the movies, man.
Just de-age him Samuel L. Jackson style.
I'll have Samuel L. Jackson play me in there.
Yeah, whatever. He's in everything.
I
don't know. One of the Chris's, the bad one.
Okay. One of the Estevezes, the Sheens.
Are you a Julio?
No. I'm guessing that it's not the story of Zach Bowen.
No. Well, you also read it. This week we are going to be doing...
I know I read it. I was just kind of making light banter. God. It's Jared's Reading Corner. I read the damn book.
We're doing the most quintessential Iron Man issue in really Iron Man history. This is the one that everyone points to. We're not doing the full arc. We're just doing the end because that's when things get funny and sad.
But there was action in Atlantic City and mayhem in Monaco. Wait, did they pull from some of this for Iron Man 2?
Quite a bit.
Wow. Well, it makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, because the villain earlier
I just gave it away, by the way.
That was fine. We're doing Demon in a Bottle. More specifically, issue number 128, which came out in 1979. Written by Bob Layton and David Michelin, with art by John Romita Jr. Just doing a little bit of history going into it, or more history post it. Layton has said that they weren't trying to do anything special. They were just trying to move on to the next big thing. And at the time, no one had really done an alcohol story. And they're like, who's going to be the villain this time? Aha, alcoholism. No one's really done that yet. They weren't really trying to be, to make the next big thing. It was just... But something a bit different. So in the story, we see the downfall of Iron Man into the slums of alcoholism. Delicious, delicious alcoholism.
Man, does he drink a lot in this.
Yeah, he does.
The first half.
He downs a bottle in a night.
Well, he's got two, what I'm assuming are whiskey bottles, because he's got a small shooter glass on his desk as we open up with the headlines of the paper, Iron Man Murderer. Apparently he killed somebody.
He's very sad about it.
Well, I mean, have you ever killed anyone?
No.
Wouldn't you feel upset if you had killed somebody?
I guess I won't know until I try.
Well, not it. So he looks for salvation and strength, in a bottle. Because he's like, well, since I really can't be Tony Stark anymore, because most superheroes go and hide behind their alias, but I hide behind my superhero because everyone knows that I'm Iron Man. Do people know he's Iron Man in this?
At this point in history, I don't remember.
Well, regardless, he flies out the side of his office after downing a glass of, whiskey.
This is my favorite part, though. He's like, Tony Stark is no more. I am just Iron Man. But instead of doing anything smooth, he forgets to open up the window and just drunkenly flies through it, breaking open the side of the building. He's like, oh, Jesus, God.
After he gives himself this, wink to himself. Yeah. I've got this grand idea. And so he's like, well, I'm just going to be Iron Man and do good things. And he starts off by totally screwing the pooch and dropping a chemically loaded train that's derailed around a civilian population. Which the art just makes it look like Iron Man, ripped ass and then flew away.
Yeah, but you see him, kind of drunkenly flying the suit. He's not very good at it in his inebriated state.
Well, you wouldn't be. I mean, if you've been drinking... Have you ever drank anything and flown?
No.
Been the one who's flying?
No, I mean, I've drank things and then flown.
Yes. but not pilot anything.
No.
Whilst drunk.
That was so, because the last time I did that, I was over, I don't even know what country it was at that point, if there was like a layover, but I was over in Europe, and like something you can't do in America. I was just walking around the airport drinking a beer. I'm like, no one's stopping me.
Well,
I don't need to be confined to that tiny little area I bought it.
Must be nice.
And just walking around, I'm like, got a beer.
So anyway, he comes back to the office and he takes off his Iron Man suit and he's like, you know what? I really haven't done anything with my life recently. I'm going to go drink some more. And then one of his female assistants, what's her face? Beth, yes.
Redhead.
Who's recently widowed because her douchebag-looking husband, Alex, was a pill-popping idiot who drove off a bridge.
Why not?
Well, I mean, look at him. That's a douchey haircut. It's a douchey beard.
It's the 70s, man.
Well, I guess that explains the half-button shirt and gold chain that Tony's rocking.
I was going to say, it really explains this man's quaff.
Yes. He's on the phone making some sort of deal, and Beth is like, well, see, my husband, he went down the same path, and I didn't help him, and I want to help you. So Tony definitely has sex with her first.
100%.
100% says, oh, okay, Beth. Let me allow you to help me. And then she withholds alcohol from him in a totally like self-created rehab / worst morning after ever.
Yeah, Tony has the booze sweats. I guess those are a thing.
He's got the DTs, baby.
I suppose. I don't know.
It's like it feels like Tony sobered up in like a day.
I know.
So really, this is just Tony being hungover. He's like being held on the couch. He's aggressively going after her because she's holding this bottle of Winston Canadian. For days, the stalemate rages, but then he starts designing things again, and they arrive at the Avengers Mansion, where Jarvis is leaving. Well, because Jarvis, in a rage, because Tony was drunk and belittled him, has resigned. And he's like, well, listen, Jarvis, I was kind of a dink, so could you keep working for me? He's like, yeah, but my sister's really sick, so I gotta go tend to her. Oh, and speaking about that, I sold the stock that you gave me in Stark International. Bad idea, because apparently S.H.I.E.L.D. wants to get their hands on it.
Yes, and how Tony doesn't own his own company. The thing we kind of glossed over is he got over alcoholism in one page.
Yes. Does he also have the arc reactor in his chest still?
No, that was never part of
Then what's in his chest? Is it just the suit under his chest?
Yeah.
His shirt? Or has he just got this
He has to... No,
growth?
Instead of like having the arc reactor, he has to wear the chest plate.
Okay, I see.
Cumbersome.
Yes.
Jarvis lost all of his money. Then he gets...
He goes to town on this loan shark's office. Like, rips it up.
Yeah, he's to try and get the stock back. And, not being drunk, but somehow a drunken rage. They're like, you know what, S.H.I.E.L.D. already bought it. You've lost your company. And then Tony is tempted to drink again, but puts the bottle down, saved from alcoholism forever.
That made it seem like it was a real easy thing to do. Of course, the 70s, a time of real excess and drinking.
I don't know. People always point to like Tony Stark's alcoholism. It was really only in these 9 issues and was resolved in 1
page.
Yeah, so it's always weird that people always go to like Tony. It happens in the books all the time. Of like going to Tony's alcoholism and all that stuff. I'm like, why? It wasn't really that prevalent.
No,
it was there, and then it was quickly resolved.
Yeah.
We didn't do the whole arc just because this was like the big drinking issue. And boy, he drinks a ton.
Yes, he does.
Very in shape for a man who's drinking that much.
Let's see. Let's go through here and keep count of how many bottles I find. 1, 2, 3,
1, 2,
4. That's probably the same bottle, but I'm gonna 5, 6. I'm just gonna count the number of bottles we see. Doesn't mean just because it's the same bottle. So we've got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
Booyah.
I
mean, he's rich. He's got a cabinet.
He's got a drink in his hands. That's 22. He's spilling a drink is 23 and 24. He's definitely talking like a drunk person do. I can handle things myself as he spills his drink. Bottle of pills, that counts as a bottle. That's 27, I think.
Man.
28, 29. Oh, drops it. There's 30, 31. We go a ways without it. Tears the guy's office up. Mr. Wiggins. What were we at? 31? There's a large bar. We'll just round that up to like 45. 50, 51, 52. Oh, he's drinking Jack Powers Old No. 7 Authentic. Yeah, there's at least over 50 alcohol references in this book.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting read, and clearly it's more interesting if you do the full arc, but and especially the cover. The cover is kind of the most iconic thing of, like, strung out Tony Stark, like, 3-day beard, bloodshot eyes, like, screaming into a mirror. This is a super iconic cover, and I think probably the cover is the best part of this book. It's not a bad book by any stretch, but I think people give it more clout than they should. Like, I wouldn't say this is the best Iron Man story I've ever read.
No, probably not. Not that I've read a whole ton of Iron Man stories, but still.
It's fine. It's definitely good. But it doesn't, because you'll get people who people end up sticking to something like this is the best, and then like for whatever reason, like no one ever wants to say like, oh, this actually might be better. But people always go like, this is the best Iron Man story, and it's certainly important to Tony Stark's history. The cover is the best. Honestly, it's a great cover.
But this wrap-up issue of the arc is really kind of...
And that's a little indicative of the time. Like, Marvel was...
I don't want to say nothing happens, because he loses his controlling ownership of his company, and he's like, his last words are like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fight for my company, and I'm going to win.
I think he just should have fought for his right to party.
Yes. I think it's highly unlikely that this teacher leads a class like some kind of jerk.
Wow, that took a while for you to get
Well,
there.
no, I was trying to remember how it went. The teacher preaches class like he's some kind of jerk. There it is.
No, just one line. Okay.
No,
it's okay. That's enough Beastie Boys out of you, sir.
Mom busted in. Does mom bust in and say, "What's that noise?" Oh wait, she's dead.
It depends.
Ma, relax. It's just the Beastie Boys. Let's see.
Just jealous. It's the Beastie Boys.
Yeah, you're not gonna get a job if you don't cut that hair. There you go. Tony could use a little haircut.
Okay, we're moving on. It's important to Tony Stark's history, mostly because people just reference it a lot. But I don't think it's earth-shattering. But that not everything needs to be. It's good. It's just, it's not insane.
It's not your favorite?
Yeah, it's good. It's good enough. It's just I wouldn't call it the best of all time.
Fair. What would you say the best is of all time?
I should have really thought that out ahead of time.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'd have to think about it, honestly. My go-to that I went to in my brain, and I'm sure there are better examples out there, is I was a really big fan of when Tony Stark took over as the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. after Civil War and just screwed the pooch royally, which was always just fun to watch him,
fail?
Yeah, I actually like watching Iron Man fail a lot. Guilty pleasure, I suppose.
But you didn't like Iron Man 2.
But I like Iron Man 3 a lot more than most people. I don't know. I get what people don't like it. I enjoy that style of humor, so it works for me.
The Mandarin was...
I thought that was hilarious.
No,
I'm all on for it. I'm all about that. I loved that bait and switch, because I totally believed everything going into it, and then they just flip it. Fantastic. I love it. I thought it was great.
I mean, Ben Kingsley is a great actor. So
yeah, I bet so.
It's just hard for me to see Gandhi be the quote-unquote villain.
I just, that's that director's, style of humor. That's Shane Black. That's the kind of, joke he does. Yeah. And that totally worked for me. But yeah, read it, I guess. Not fantastic, but good enough. Moving on from there, letters to the editors.
Lot of questions, number one. Damn few answers.
Here's another one of your letters to the editors.
Make it so.
Here's a character you'll know nothing about.
Okay, good.
Hey, dog.
Hey, dog, I know that character.
Bye, dog.
Hey, Kirby. Bye, Kirby. Good talk.
I'm going to show you a character.
Yes, please.
Who just made their live-action debut.
In Jessica Jones?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't believe it. When he came in, I was like, can't be. And boy, I was right.
You would be wrong. Because you're like, it can't be. And if you were right, it wasn't him.
They introduced the Whizzer.
Wow.
Bad name and a bad color choice for a guy named the Whizzer.
I mean...
Bright yellow.
Yeah, with some blue spandex and boots.
Big old W on his chest.
I took a tremendous whizzer the other day.
Look, he's like McDonald's for Women's Day.
Oh, that was terrible.
But the question was asked because he is kind of a D-grade character. D? What?
Like the D. Never mind.
Yeah, no,
More like a P-grade character. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. So the question was asked, who the hell is the Whizzer? And to that, I have an answer. This may surprise you, but he's actually quite powerful. He is the fastest character in the Marvel Universe. Bar none.
I like to think that he busts in on bad guys, like, you're in for it now.
He's a Golden Age hero.
Oh, come on! That was a good one! You suck.
He still gets used.
Screw you, Bowen.
He first appeared in 1941 in USA Comics #1.
Yeah, he is #1.
Later joining the Liberty Legion. He kind of went away for a while. He shows up from time to time. But he does have possibly the greatest origin story in all of comics. Bitten by a radioactive spider? Nothing. Super soldier serum? Nothing. Man dressed as a bat? Whatever.
Decides he really has to go to the bathroom after passing the next rest area and 100-mile sign?
Oh, no. Well, he'll make it very quickly. He's the fastest character of the Marvel Universe.
Oh, okay.
This is the Whizzer's honest-to-God comic origin. It was retcons later, but I refuse to believe the retcon.
Okay.
This is what it will always be in my mind. Regular guy, forget his real name, was bitten by a cobra. Poison flowing through his veins, reaching his heart, going to kill him. A painful, poisonous death.
Did he pee it out?
Wait for it. What is the cobra's natural enemy?
The honey badger?
The mongoose.
That's also true, yes.
So, how do you beat cobra poison coming to kill you?
Did he drink mongoose blood?
He got a mongoose blood transfusion.
Wow.
Gaining the powers of the wizard.
And not the powers of a mongoose.
Or death, because that would kill you.
Oh, speaking of, like, by the way, to kind of offshoot just a little bit, I haven't read fully into it, but you ever heard of Scott Kelly?
No.
He's the dude who spent a year in space.
Oh, yeah,
and he has an identical twin.
Yeah, I saw that.
His DNA changed after being in space for a year. His DNA does not match his brother's anymore.
Was it from mongoose blood?
No, but he's a friggin' alien now, dude.
Isn't that the best origin? Bitten by a cobra, mongoose blood transfusion. Bam, super speed.
As soon as I leave here tonight, I'm gonna go buy a cobra and a mongoose.
It wouldn't. It would definitely kill you. Don't transfuse your blood, kids.
Probably a good idea.
I just think that's the funniest superhero origin. Maybe there's some better ones out there, but I've always enjoyed the Wizard's superhero origin. So that's who the Wizard is. He's in Jessica Jones. Can't really believe it, but boy, he's there.
Wow.
Also has the funniest, speed special effect. It's so incredibly bad, I can only assume they meant to make it incredibly bad. It's too bad to be a mistake.
Did a bell tinkle when he walked into the room?
He also had a pet mongoose. I enjoyed that callback.
You totally missed it again.
Yeah, it's fine.
You're just not acknowledging it?
I'm not picking up your pee.
You don't have to pick it up. I'm trying to think of a couple other good ones. So yeah, did the bell tinkle when he came? I had some in my head, and then he told me this whole mongoose story, and it threw me for a loop.
Because it's amazing.
I already made the he's number one joke. Yeah, you're in for trouble now.
This is why the show is free.
Yeah. What if he walked in on some villains and he's like, you're about to be pissed on by the wizard?
I don't think that would make it into a book. That'll do it for this week.
You don't want to piss off the wizard.
Wizard. Now he's a wizard in your world.
Well,
Harry Potter.
Well, why not?
We'll be back.
Does he have a sidekick, Golden Shower?
Jesus, man. Just trying to wrap up at this point. We'll be back next week to talk more news and reviews and sports and crap.
Is his mortal enemy the poop emoticon?
You don't. It came around in the 40s. You think there was an iPhone in the 40s?
Does he throw urinal cakes at people? That's his secret weapon?
Did those exist in the 40s?
I'm sure they did. This has got a utility belt of urinal cakes, and he's zipping them at people.
If you want to get the show a day early, patreon.com/editorsnotecomics, minimum $1 a month. I'm all over the internet. Just go to the main website, editorsnotecomics.com. That'll basically lead you to everything.
If he's saving somebody, I can't hold it in anymore, the wizard is here.
If you want to, maybe I shouldn't actually recommend this right now. I was going to say go review us on iTunes. Do it next week. Get these last few minutes out of your head.
Oh no, these are great. These are probably the best minutes we've had in some time.
Yeah.
Do you think the wizard gets upset with people who don't leave this, have a seat violation with the toilet, either up or down?
You have those sometimes. You're not great about that.
What, putting the seat back down?
Yeah.
No, I always put the seat... No, the seat is up, as it should be. When I live by myself. I can leave the seat up at my leisure. Although in the middle of the night, if I have to get up and partake in the wizard's counterpart as alter ego, I find myself making sure that the seat is down because I had an unfortunate incident not long ago.
I've learned there are certain words I just can't bring up on this show. We'll be back next week, talk about other stuff.
What do you mean, certain words you can't bring up on the show?
You're like a child.
I am exactly like a child, and that's why you should follow me on Twitter @JuniorRich. See you next week!
Yeah, bye.